Thank you, Jason David Frank.
And Mr. Saban.
That's Tom.
And that's Chris.
As you can see, we've updated our command center.
We're going to be doing this from time to time just to keep things fresh and things like that. So something to look forward to.
That's right. So, Tom, how do Power Rangers morphers work?
Well, I'm going to talk about them, so stay tuned.
It's PRNT time.
This is Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger. You are watching PRNT. Wow, wow.
Welcome, Rangers,
To this episode of
PRNT,
your source for all things
Power Rangers.
On this episode, we're going to go to Science of the Morphin Grid, Part 2.
That's right. Last time on Science of the Morphin Grid, we discussed what the Morphin Grid is and where it's located, and some of our own thoughts about it. And if you have not watched it yet, you should definitely check it out. I think you should go and get morphed so we can start the episode.
All right, it's science time. Ha! Ha! Right.
That morph was even better than the last one.
Thank you. I try to improve each time. So on this, our part 2 of Science of the Morphin Grid, we're going to talk about how the Rangers are able to access the power in the Morphin Grid and how the Morphin Grid supplies them with the suits and the weapons they need.
That's right. Like last time, I'm going to ask you questions and we're going to discuss the answers.
Alright, sounds good.
So, we established that the Morphin Grid was an energy field that's able to span multiple universes and it's located in a pocket dimension.
Right.
How are the Rangers able to tap into this energy?
Well, the morphers are the key. In Science of the Morphin Grid Part 1, I referenced the radio stations, like the radios in your car. I want you to think back to that, okay? So the radio stations are broadcasting radio waves. They're all around us all the time, just like the energy of the Morphin Grid.
Okay.
But we're unable to access the radio waves unless we have a receiver, like in our radios or in our cars. The morphers act the same way. Okay, they're the receiver of the energy from the Morphin Grid. So without a morpher, you're not going to be able to tap into the Morphin Grid.
Gotcha. So tapping in is the easy part.
Right.
How does the Morphin Grid use its energy to give the Rangers their suits and their weapons and all that?
Okay, this is where it gets tricky. We're going to talk about a famous equation made by a famous physicist, probably the most famous physicist of them all, Albert Einstein.
Oh.
Yeah.
And his most famous equation, E equals mc squared.
Right.
Most of us have probably heard of the equation, but maybe not all of us know what it means. Okay, so I'm going to start by telling you what the letters stand for.
Okay.
E is energy, okay, M is mass, and C is the speed of light, which is roughly 3.0 times 10 to the 8th meters per second.
Alright, so the equation is telling us that energy and mass are related.
Yes, energy and mass are related and can therefore be converted from one form to the other.
Nice. So I see where you're going. The Morphin Grid is energy, and that means that by using this equation, we can convert that energy into the mass, such as their suits and weapons.
Right, exactly.
Alright, so when can I get my morpher?
Well, it's going to be a while because we haven't actually yet been able to do this.
But you said it was possible.
Right, it is possible, but we have not yet been able to convert energy into mass as of yet.
Why not?
Well, for one thing, it's going to take a huge amount of energy. It takes a huge amount of energy, according to the calculations, to convert energy even to 1 kilogram of mass. Now, 1 kilogram is roughly 2.2 pounds, 1 liter of water, or a bag of rice. Okay, now to create 2.2 pounds of matter from energy, it's going to require 9.0 times 10 to the 16th joules of energy. That is roughly equivalent to 4.8 times 10 to the 12th 9-volt batteries, 2.1 times 10 to the 10th car batteries, and it's the same amount of energy in 113 nuclear explosions.
Wow.
So as you can see, it takes a huge amount of energy even to make 2.2 pounds. Imagine how much energy it's going to take to create enough mass for the suits and the weapons and still have enough energy to power them. So the Morphin grid has to have unbelievable amounts of energy, more than we ever thought possible. But it is possible.
So is anyone working on making this a reality?
Yes, actually, Forbes magazine wrote an article about a team out of Imperial College in London who have been working on this. Oliver Pike, Felix McEnroth, Edward Hill, and Steve Rose have proposed to build a huge collider which would smash two light particles or photons together.
Well, that sounds awesome. How do they plan on doing this?
Well, step one is to accelerate electrons to just under the speed of light, okay? Then they're going to smash them into a sheet of gold, which is going to produce such an intense flash of light. It is 1 billion times more intense than our own sun.
I better bring my sunscreen.
You better. The light from that intense blast is then going to be directed at a hollow shell of gold. Okay? And that shell of gold is going to be excited by a laser. And it's going to create its own light. Okay? It's not going to be as intense. It's going to be more like starlight. Okay? So when the super intense light beam meets the starlight from this hollow shell, okay, two photons in theory are going to collide together, and they should produce somewhere around 100,000 pairs of electrons and their counterpart positrons, which we can then detect as mass.
Well, so how are the Rangers able to do this now?
Well, the morphers must be able to tap into the huge amounts of energy in the morphing grid. The morphers then have to be able to rearrange that energy into specific atoms and rearrange those specific atoms into things like the suits and the weapons that the Rangers need to fight the battle.
So the idea of an energy field that can be used to power and create weapons and suits is actually scientifically plausible?
In theory, yes.
So Power Rangers has an accurate scientific foundation.
Uh-huh.
So that means...
Yes.
If this experiment works and we can harness the energy, we can become Power Rangers!
But that is a long ways down the road. It may be in our lifetime, it may not be. But if it is in our lifetime, we're both probably going to be old men. But you could be in your wheelchair. Someone hands you a morpher. You've waited your whole life for this. You push the button, and you die. But
I die a happy man.
That's right.
Thank you for subscribing, commenting, and sharing this video with your friends. If you go here, you could like us on Facebook.
If you go here, you can follow us on Twitter.
And if you go here, you can follow us on Instagram.
And as we sign off, remember our hope is that the power will always protect you.
Let's power down. We will be revealing the winner of the Jason David Frank autographed PRNT t-shirt on October 7th.
So make sure you have your entries in by October 5th to qualify.
That's right. You can put your entry in by subscribing to this channel. Make sure your page is public so we can see you're subscribed.
Make sure you're following us on Twitter. And then we want to hear your favorite Tommy moment too, so tweet that to us.
So, the three things: subscribe, follow us on Twitter, and tweet us your favorite Tommy moment. Good luck to all of you.
See you next time.